Yuktena Cetasa Narya Gamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parth Anuchintaya Abhyas Yoga Yuktena Chitasa Chitsa Narya Gamina Paramama Purusham Divyam Artha Pathanu Chintanam Abhyasa Yoga Yuktana Cetasa Narya Gamina Parama Purusham Divyam Yati Pathanu Chintaya. Anyone?
Abhyas yoga yuktena
Abhyas Yoga Yuktena
Cetasa Nanyagamina
Cetasa Naryagamina
Purusham Divya
Paramam Purusham Divyam
Yati Pathanu Chintaya
Yati Pathanu Abhyas Yoga Yuktena Cetasa Naryagamina Param Purusham Divyam Yati Pathanu Chintayan. Word for word translation. Abhyas Yoga by practice. Yuktena being engaged in meditation. Cetasa by the mind and intelligence. Na Anyagamina without here being deviated. Paramam, the Supreme. Purusham, personality of Godhead. Divyam, transcendental. Yati, one achieves. Parth, Osarapata. Anuchintaya, constantly thinking of. The translation and quoted by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path. He, or Parth, is sure to reach me. Please repeat after me. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path. He, O Parth, is sure to reach me. Perfect. In this word, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering Him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Purusha means enjoyer. Although living entities belong to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyers, but they are not the supreme enjoyer. Here it is clearly stated that the supreme enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different manifestations and planetary expansions of Narayan, Vasudev, etc. The devotee can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features, Narayan, Krishna, Ram, etc., by chanting Hare Krishna. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of a caterpillar that thinks of becoming a butterfly, and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we can constantly think of Krishna, it is certain that at the end of our lives, we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. Om Jnanati Vidantasya Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kanamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabham Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalparubhyasya Kripa Sindhavyo Evasya Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, today we will be doing chapter 8, sloka number 8. So, again, a little recap. Lord Krishna was asked 8 questions by Arjuna. So just very briefly, the 8th one, what is Brahman? And it is basically Jivatma. Right? It is indestructible and eternally existing. What is self? Self is the nature of the Jivatma. It is altering, it is changing. Fruit of activities is basically karma. Karma is the process by which we, the Jiva, get new bodies. Material manifestation is adibhuta. Physical nature is constantly changing from the 6 stages. So, what is demigods? Adideva, universal form of the Supreme. Who is the Lord of sacrifice? Paramatma, plenary expansion of Krishna. Where does he live? Accompanies the Atma in his heart. So, these 7 questions were very briefly and very fast answered by the Lord Krishna. But the last question is what we will be dealing with. And that is how to know you at the point of death. how to know you at the point of death. And that is prayana prana. So this is when you think about it, everyone, each and every one of us, death is the biggest truth of life. Death is the biggest truth of life. That everyone has to go through it. Everyone will be dying. And this is also confirmed by Bhagavan in the chapter number 2, when he says 2.27. One who has taken his birth is sure to die. And after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So the question of dying or not dying is not there. Everyone will die. So this question is going to arise in everyone's minds. If not now, they might not want to think about it, but it is the universal truth about it. And again in 2.12, never was the time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. That just shows that the whole process is continuous. It is eternal. One after the other. There is birth, goes through the stages, then there is death. Then again there is a rebirth. So we are basically eternal living souls. Keep on reincarnating. We keep on reincarnating. Why? Because unless we don't do what is required by Lord Krishna. The whole process has been given. What should be done in order to avoid this? That is what is meant by one of the questions. It says, what is karma? This is the karma. That we are forced to keep on taking new bodies every now and then. Once this finishes, take another one, take another one, take another one. And not necessarily in the human form. It could be any one of the 8.4 billion species, depending on your karma which has happened. So, we have to learn to pass the examination. Like the death is the final examination which we have to pass. When you pass through that, then only you will see what kind of grade you get. Did you pass or did you just fail? So in 8.5, and he says, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So it means that at the end of life, a person has to remember Lord Krishna to attain Lord Krishna's nature. Right? The process is very simple. Just to remember Krishna at the end, just before you quit this body, you should remember Krishna. It is not at all easy as it sounds. That process is not at all simple. Since previous thoughts are the causes of thoughts and death, all the thoughts which we have are a culmination of thoughts which happened in the past. That leads to the new thoughts. So, whatever you are thinking at the moment has got its birth in your previous mind, that kind of thought process. So, unless you have thought of Krishna, you will not find it easy to remember Krishna at the end. So it says, just remember Krishna at the end. But that process is not very easy. It is not a guaranteed process, because at that time there will be so many disturbances in your body, you will not be able to even concentrate. So let alone think about Krishna. So remembrance of Krishna is not possible for the impure soul who has not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotional service. That is why Prabhupada has quoted the Mahamantra twice in that purpose. The full Mahamantra has been quoted in the thing, putting so much emphasis that the process is very simple. There is a chance where you can think of Krishna at the end if you practice and do the Mahamantra chanting right now. That is what it says. And then it says in that sloka, what is meant by my nature? Now, when he says what is the nature, now what is Krishna's nature? It is basically Satchitananda. Sat meaning eternal. Chit meaning full of knowledge and Anand full of pleasure. So, out of these three, we are having one of them in us, in the sense that we are also eternal. We are part and parcel of Krishna. We are eternal. We are in minute form, is in a major form. But as far as the full of knowledge is concerned, that does not happen. At every change of body, we forget. We don't know what we were before, what we will be in the future. Constant changing. Constant change of bodies, constant change of forgetfulness coming through. You will not have. And this place where you are put, there is no pleasure at all. It is full of misery and it's of a temporary nature. So it seems that it's logical that a person would aspire to have the nature like Lord Krishna. So we say logically that we should aspire to pass the exam, which is there, is to try and get a nature like Krishna. And then in 8.6, again the same idea is continued further. That when you think of Krishna at the end in 8.5, you will acquire a nature like Krishna. But in 8.6, he says it's like the law of last thought. Whatever goes through at the end, that is what you will become. That is the state which you will end up in the last thought. So it's basically the law of last thought. And whatever state one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So that's guaranteed. That is what. So the example which is always quoted is the example of Bharat Maharaj. Everyone knows that he was possibly the king of India from whom the name Bharat came. And he gave up everything and he said, I will do bhakti. And at the end he got involved in looking after a deer. And he got so involved in thinking about that deer that when he quit his body at that time, he adopted the body of a deer. Luckily for him, he could remember his past lives and he was assisted to come back and then go to the Dham. But we may not be so lucky. So we should not be even thinking in those terms. So now in 8.7, therefore Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. And at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting with your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me. You will attain me without doubt. So now there is a little bit more material which Bhagavan is saying. How to think about me with your activities, with your mind, with your intelligence. Lord Krishna is emphasizing activities, mind and intelligence dedicated to Him. Again gives assurance. In 8.5 he gave assurance. 8.7 he's giving assurance again that there is no doubt. If you do this process, I guarantee you will come to my town. So it becomes very easy. We have a guarantee, we don't have to worry about what the consequences will be. Right? So these things lead to today's sloka. Again, this sloka is not new. There are so many points, so many other slokas in the Gita which mentions the same points. All over different places it's been stated. So I made a list of 4 of them. Is it 4? Yeah. I made a list of 4 of them. So just bear with me. He says in 9.34, engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisances, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So again a guarantee, surely you will come. Again, do this, do my worship me, do this. Same thing what has been stated in 8.8. 1865, again he says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are very dear friend. Again, a promise has been given by God. That if you do this, you will come to me. So everywhere he's making it so much convincing that you don't have to worry. You do your part, my part is guaranteed. And you do that. And then in 12.6 and 7 he says, but those who worship me, giving up all activities unto me, and being devoted to me, without deviation, engage in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed your minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So again here he is saying, I will take you from your normal where you are to my Dham. Then again in 12.8 he says, just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. Again, without always guaranteeing that this is the process. All over the Gita it has been mentioned. There are so many other places as well where it has been stated. But these are the main ones which have been stated. So now we come to what this slok actually says. So let us go through the slok and you will see that it says that constant engagement by chanting. What does chanting do? Chanting is a sound vibration of the Supreme Lord. So it engages your ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. So you are constantly thinking of God with all your senses. You are capable of putting all the power into that Maha Mantra. Second point which is mentioned in this thing is only Krishna is the Purusha and the enjoyer. We are to be enjoyed. He is the only enjoyer. Right? So it becomes our duty to serve them. That is what our purpose in life is. That once you serve Krishna, then your life is successful. Maha Mantra chanting is so strong that can purify a devotee in any of his features, Narayan, Krishna, Ram, etc. Here, what the point which is trying to get is that a person may be a devotee of Ram Bhagwan or Narayan, Vishnu, but the Maha Mantra which has been said is so powerful that it can accommodate all of these features. You understand? The Maha Mantra is so strong that even if you are a devotee of Ram Bhagwan, chanting Maha Mantra will serve the purpose of purifying that person. Right? It will purify. Though it says in I think in 18, again, some slok of 1865 or something, where it says that you should be thinking only of the form of Krishna and not deviate into Ram, Krishna, Vishnu and all that. Think of Krishna. I have written it somewhere, but I can't see it at the moment. No. This was stated in I think a much later chapter, but this is what it says. I think it's anyway. I'll find it out and let you know. Huh? It is 1865. Yes. So it says in there. No, that is the slope. But in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that a person should think of the form of Krishna to make it successful. And the form of Krishna is what? Everyone has got different ideas. I think it's not been stated, but in other scriptures it's been mentioned that it is of a two hands carrying a flute. A bluish boy with a beautiful face, peacock feathers in his hair, yellow garments, and a garland around his neck. Those are the features of Krishna. That should come into your mind. That is how you should be thinking and meditating of Krishna. One should not even deviate attention to other forms of Lord, such as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Balaram. So I think that's 1865. Okay. Then the other point which is stated here, mind is very fickle, and it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. Mind is very fickle. In fact, like Arjuna says, that it is easier to control the will than to control the mind. So similarly, mind is very fickle, and Maya is very strong. It can have total grip over you. So he says, yeah, Maya's grip is very strong, and it is not enough to empty the mind. You cannot say, okay, I'm not going to do this. Just get my thoughts out. To keep the mind empty. That does not happen. It is better to divert it to Krishna consciousness. Because empty mind will only allow weeds to grow in it. So we don't want that either. So it is better to divert to Krishna consciousness. Right? So conclusion is that we should be following what the formula which has been given by ISKCON is. We should be doing the ABC, associating with the devotees, getting their son, reading the books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all these books, and chanting Hare Krishna. Every place, the Lord's name is so powerful that even just chanting is enough. That is why Prabhupada has been mentioning or highlighting, emphasizing that chanting the Lord's name is what the process of this Kali Yuga is. Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Granth Raj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
माता जी हेल्प कर रही है, चैटिंग करने में।